Welcome back to the People Being Real show. We've got the one, the only Rory Kramer back in the house.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm good. I woke up, totally forgot that I was supposed to be meeting with you today.
Damn it!
Sitting in my chair in my underwear, getting ready to think of a caption for Instagram, and then I see your text, and I'm like, you
did decide to put clothes on.
I put clothes on, brushed my teeth, came straight here, and actually it was like I had a great drive here.
You did? Why
Yeah.
was it so great?
I think it's just because like I love driving, and I love like when you actually have an open flow of being able to drive, like normal speeds, just cruising, the wind, like the air was just, it's been raining. So like, I feel like the air's really, really fresh right now. And I have this 91 like Jeep Wrangler, no top on it. So it was just like, it was a vibe.
Nice.
And it was
Any
like,
tunes?
no. So my, me singing in my head. So my car has a tape deck. Speakers are crap in it, but I have like one of those tapes that has like an aux cord that comes out.
Okay.
But I also have
Fashion, Rory.
But I have like actual cassettes. I have like Nirvana, I have Blink-182, 21 Pilots, like, so I'll throw those in. Well, since my car didn't have a top on it, one day it got rained on real bad.
Yeah.
And like, even though the cassette thing's in a lockbox, the cassette player, it got wet, and like now like it doesn't work. But I have this huge speaker, this sound box that's like massive. It fits right perfect in my Jeep in the back, and it's super loud. So like usually that's how I was doing it. A week ago, I decide, I'll just leave it in the car, like, you know, like, because it's heavy, and like I didn't want to carry it up to my apartment. And the time I decided to be lazy, the next morning I come out, someone had jacked it.
No.
And it wasn't like sitting up on the seat. It was like where you open the back like door of it, like the trunk part was tucked away in there. My own fault. And the thing used to lock that doesn't lock now. So it was one of those lessons where it's just like, I can't be mad about it. It was my own fault, and like I laugh about it now. So now I just sit there.
Nice.
Now I guess
with
it's
your thoughts.
yeah, like, but see, the thing, maybe it's a blessing in disguise, because like driving for me is like when I've had some of my most clearest thoughts, but like 9 times out of 10, like it's where like if I'm just driving home, I'll come up with ideas, or because there's something about when you're driving, part of your mind just knows out of instinct and habit how to drive and navigate, and you can actually you can tap into your own flow state of like your ideas, conversations with people, because part of your mind is removed because it's focused.
Yep.
And if I could just apply, like, I love that kind of mindset, because it allows you to have a free flow, kind of like this right now. Like we're riffing. Yeah. So like, I love that kind of mind state.
I love it. I know everyone's kind of got their own places, like whether it's in the shower or just like going for a walk down your street. But I'm so with you. For me, it's going for a run.
Yeah.
If I wake up on a day where I'm just like, like I'm scared about the day or feeling like a little lethargic, just getting out of my head into my body, going for a run, it's like that's when the clarity and the ideas start flowing through me.
Yeah. Working out, anything physical, like is great for the mind to just like rid that, attach it to some sort of focus, and allow you to let go of maybe stress or anything that's like causing you to not be yourself or to be blocked. So there's
a lot of those distractions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think life is, you know, it's that whole like physical, mental, and spiritual. And like the older I get and the more I experience, the more I'm realizing like, yeah, it's physical, but I think physical is just a fraction of how mental life is and how like spiritual. Like I think like the more you feed your spirit, the more it's like putting gas in a gas tank. The mental part is like it can keep you in bed all day. It can, make you the best person. It can, like, the mental game is very, very a big part of it, I think. And you have to really cater to it, listen to it, know who you are, and be willing to, like, come to terms with things, accept things about yourself. And without that, like, that's a huge part of it. And so then, like, the physical part, I think, is the easier part, because I think once you understand, like, the mental game and the mental aspect of it, you can tap into kind of like what we were saying, like those free flowing parts. Like, do you ever go for a run and it just feels effortless?
Totally.
So, like, I think when you understand, like, the mental part, you can, like, tap in and you just go on autopilot, because you're so in tune with yourself. Like, when you're running, like, it just all comes natural, because you have the power with your mind to control your legs to move, to be inspired. Like, if you find a topic, like when you're running, like if you have an idea for a podcast or people, like, your mind's going to be so focused on that. Like, the physical part doesn't seem exhausting.
I love it. I'm curious to know, how do you feed your soul? I think that everything you said was just gold right there, really good wisdom. So I'd love to just dive a little bit deeper into it.
I mean, it's easier said than done. And, like, I'll admit, like, I'm very not the best disciplined at feeding it. Like, just because sometimes my mental aspect slips and my thoughts become consumed. And therefore I forget about like, how hard is it to go out? And let's say I'm going to get food. You can feed your soul, your spirit, whatever, by opening the door for somebody. Like, when you're paying for something, like, hey, how's your day going? Like, just starting small talk and putting positive energy out into the world, and not, like, having those, man, I'm having this problem today, or I'm, like, bummed out. Like, if you have that mindset, you're constantly just battling the mental part, rather than if you just let go, like, here's what it is. I'm going to change it by changing how I compose myself. Like, hey, how are you doing? Like, just putting the positive energy out and seeing how, like, gets people maybe out of their rhythm. Maybe they're having a bad day at work, and allows them to, you just see, like, I think people are a reflection of themselves. So, like, if I'm putting positive energy out, and, like, maybe I'm telling an old story, like, and, like, you start to smile, like, it shows that you're resonating with them or connecting with them. And therefore it takes you out of your own internal thoughts, takes you out of your own self. Because I think we're, like, the pilots of, our brains and our thoughts, and we're the ones with those every day. Like, you don't have my problems, I don't have your problems. So, and I have access to those thoughts every day.
I totally can understand, and I imagine everyone who's tuning in can as well. I mean, for me personally, I will get this, like, tunnel vision where I'll get fixated, whether it's something that has to do with the podcast or my relationship, some part of my life where maybe my inner critic is super duper loud, or I'm fixated on completing a project for a deadline. And then my mind, like, zones out everything else. And sometimes I forget to do the things that feed my soul. So, like, I think a perfect example is last Thursday night, my girlfriend and I went out dancing. And, like, the second I hit the dance floor, like, it was empty, by the way, but I decided just to be a goofball, whatever, and just get out on the dance floor by myself. And I'm like, wow, I forgot how much I love to dance. I'm like, why don't I dance more often? But then, like, by just dancing and acting like an idiot, kind of created the space for other people then to join on the dance floor. And, like, all of a sudden there was a dance party. So I realized it wasn't just feeding my soul, but, like, it was kind of a gift by just allowing myself to be free from my thoughts, and my internal dialogue was, like, liberation, not only for me, but for others. Well, Rory, I'm so glad to have you back on the show. The episode we did, I think it was, like, episode 47 or something. And this is, like, we're in the 220s now, depending on, when this one gets released. But the episode we did together is one of the most listened to episodes of the podcast ever.
Really?
And yeah, because I think you're so real and inspiring.
Thanks,
you
man.
have an amazing story. But back when we had you on last time, the Avicii music video, the nights that you're the star of those, your life was turned into a music video, been seen, I think 150 million times at that point. And I think now it's been seen like 450 million.
Something like that.
Something like that. And obviously we, sadly lost Avicii last year. You had I'll give you a chance to talk about that in a second. And then we had, you had the show on MTV, Dare to Live. And I think you were in like a near-death car accident as well. Because we've barely seen each other in the last 3-4 years.
Just randomly ran into each other at Air One the other day.
So I have so many, questions that I want to ask you, but you are, such a cool guy who is so real, and you put so much heart and soul into everything that you're a part of, and like have just like your story from, drinking on the job to ultimately, going out there and living your dream, being a professional life liver, and you have your own like fashion brand now too. So it's awesome to see you kicking ass. But for those who don't know Rory, you gotta like do a deep dive on Google. Such a fascinating character, awesome guy, clearly. And you've worked with everyone from the Chainsmokers, Justin Bieber, Martin Garrix, Kanye, Drake. Is there anyone you haven't worked with that you really want to work with?
Dang, you're like really building me up. I don't know. Like, just people have interesting stories. It's funny. Like just today I got to work with like a new artist that I hadn't worked with before. And like, it was somebody like, I'd been open to like working with them, but like, I didn't know if I wanted to work with them because I hadn't been a fan, just a genuine fan of somebody in a long time. And I didn't know if I wanted to put both those worlds together. Like, because a lot of the people that I've worked with in the last 5 years, I became friends with and developed great friendships, like from like the Chainsmokers to Justin Bieber. And not that I would change any of that, but it's just nice to be a fan of something just because of the art that they make, and not letting, it's just nice to be kind of removed from it. Recently, I just got hit up by this record label that was just like, hey, like, would you want to make a small video for Instagram and YouTube of like 21 Pilots? They get this song Chlorine coming out, or they already have it out. It's doing really, really well. We noticed you're a big fan of theirs. Would you want to like just make something with like your footage that goes with this song? And I'm just like, what? This is so bizarre. Like, and it was just like an organic fit. And I was just like, let me see if I'm feeling it, like when I start editing. And so I started editing, and it brought me back to a place of when I first started getting into video. It wasn't about who saw it, if I was getting paid or not. It was strictly like that liberating feeling of like, I remember being in my parents' like attic with my friends, just like locked away, and like we'd film every day after school, and then just like putting it on the timeline, setting it to music, and like putting effects, and just seeing like what you could do with the computer to it. And it reminded me of that. I didn't have those like internal like thoughts of like, what are people going to think about this? Like, is this going to be too out there? Is this going to be not on par with what other people are doing? Like, why? Like, because like I do compare myself, and like just because of the way, it's hard not to be like, to put your work out there and read what people have to say about it, and to like look at like numbers of views versus likes, whereas sometimes you have a video with 450 million views versus a video that has next to no views. It's hard to like let go of that, and like that pressure that you build for yourself. But it was nice to just like actually not care for once again. And I feel like I hadn't felt that in so long. It felt really real and like good, rather than like feeling pressure that I had to create something. Because like a lot of people for so long were like, yo, when are you going to work with 21 Pilots? Like, dude, are you going to go on tour with them? Like, like all their fans were like really wanting that. And I just didn't know if I wanted that. I didn't know if I wanted that, like, to build up that pressure. And like, it was cool to like make something and just put it out. And like right now, like it's up on my Instagram, and I just posted it before I came here, and I haven't checked in to see like how it's doing, it's out. And like for me, it felt good to just make something that resonated with myself again, rather than like, it's just going to do well. Like, oh, this is what's trendy or this or that. Just making it for myself and like putting it out. It felt good.
In all seriousness, I'm curious to know, it's been 3 years. You're a professional life liver. You put yourself out there constantly. I'm curious to know, how you would depict the last 3 years, maybe some of the highs and lows that you've experienced.
Last 3 years. So that'd be 2016. What was I doing at that time?
Well, it was,
what was I working on?
It was a year after the Avicii video came out. I think that.
So I was working with Bieber.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
You probably know better than me.
No, I'm trying to like place it because like literally, I've just been like, as we were talking before, like time moves so fast now. And the last 5 years of my life since like I quit my job and started doing this full time has been a blur. And like, I find myself a lot of the times like running into people and they'll be like, yo, like they'll jog my memory and I'm just like, whoa, like I know what you're talking about, but I don't know if I remember this, or wow, like that was that long ago. It's a lot. Like there was so much that happened, and it seems like I was so just like tapped in at that time where it was all so new, and it was overwhelming. It was just, and it was awesome. But it's like some of it was just like sometimes you're experiencing like these like creative blackouts because it's so much new stuff that your body can't comprehend it. And so what last 3 years, like it's put out a TV show, which was like a dream of mine. Like when I first got into videos, it would be like, oh man, I'd love to have a TV show on MTV.
So cool.
So did the TV show, started doing some music videos, had like a knee surgery, got in a car wreck. So there was a lot of things that just kind of grounded me in the sense of just making me realize what life is, like what is life to me, making me appreciate life, making me look back at the last 5 years, at the last like course of my whole life, and just kind of looking at things of what am I proud of? What am I not proud of? What is some things that like you need to work on that you haven't worked on ever. But no, I think it's that mental game. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, I think you did. I mean, so it sounds like you experienced pretty much all shades of the rainbow with extreme highs, a lifelong dream of getting a show on MTV, as well as like a near-death car crash as well. And knee surgery would put you out of commission for a few months.
Yeah, that was getting knee surgery. That was a huge change in my life. I just finished my TV show and I had to like get knee surgery, and I just spent the previous couple years doing everything I loved, traveling the world, like just go. And now it's like, so this is gonna be like a 6 to 12 month recovery time, and it's like, wait, what? So when can I run again? Probably won't be able to like fully run and plan on your thing till 6 months, maybe 8 months. And it's just like, that was huge. Like, just like when you're a kid and your parents are like, all right, like time for dinner, or like you're done playing, or time for bed, or like go to a timeout. It was like an adult timeout, and it was tough. And it was, but it also had its pros and cons, like everything does. It's the way you look at it. And, I mean, it definitely made me depressed for a period of time because I wasn't excited to just halt and have to do that. It was one of those things of like, you had to deal with it. Yeah. And, but now like it's made me appreciate like making time from like my body and myself, and actually getting up and like doing more exercise. Even though I was doing like a lot of exercise, like really make me pay attention to just everything, like stretching and lifting weights, about running. I did say stretching, but just like how I sleep and how like your body is, it's literally the vehicle to doing everything.
Yeah, I think when it comes to health, oftentimes maybe we are doing things that are causing us, subconsciously or even consciously to cause health issues. But a lot of times when those health issues come, like you can do your best to heal as fast as you can, but sometimes things are out of our control or take longer than we expect. And like, I know for you, like you're kind of a thrill seeker. I don't think I'm going on a limb by
so that
saying
was like another thing.
So like I imagine like that's like a way that, you connect with people, and like your whole public image is like based off of, like it shows a lot of the lifestyle that you live. So I just like can imagine putting myself in your shoes where it's like, all right, for 6 months, no traditional fun, like no going on a bicycle off of a jump, at your lake house into water. You got to take that off for a season. Like I can imagine like how frustrating that would be.
Yeah, it was hard, but it was, like now, like I appreciate it more than ever because it gave me an appreciation for smaller things. It gave me appreciation for just being able to walk. Like some people can't do that. Yeah. And, it just makes you just more grateful and just have gratitude towards things, which is good. Indeed.
So I've been meaning to ask you this question. I noticed that you don't do a lot of interviews and podcasts.
Really?
I looked on iTunes today and I saw 3 shows with the episode we did last time as one of them. So I'm curious to know, why authenticity and, why people being real in particular.
One, I just feel like it's you have to be comfortable with the person. It's kind of like what I was saying, like a lot of the people I work with, I end up becoming friends with. And I don't want to just randomly go talk to somebody I don't know. Cause like, even like right now, I find myself just like sometimes rambling or sometimes like starting on a topic, but then like not really knowing where to go with it. And for me, like articulating what's in my head and talking has not been my strong suit ever. Like if I had to go pitch a video to somebody, like trying to tell them like how it makes sense in my head, no, like I'm terrible at that. Like I'm better at just making something with a video and showing it to a person and they get it. And then they're like, yo, this is sick. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I was trying to like tell you or write out. Like I'm not good at that. And I realized that probably like within the last year of my life that like video was my first language. Mm-hmm. Like that's how I learned to articulate, like write down, put all these thoughts and like form it into something that people could watch, relate to, listen to, see and feel. Whereas like sometimes like my stream of consciousness or my stream of like what I'm talking about sometimes sounds like I'm rambling or I don't really know what I'm talking about or kind of I'm interested in it, but I don't know too much about it. So I feel like a lot of times on like these podcasts, like I don't feel that confident in what I'm saying because I remember growing up and like being around the dinner table, being the quiet one because I was so much younger than my brothers and sisters or I didn't really know how to communicate. Like I was always like an insecure kid. And whenever I found video, that was like my first time in my life that like when I started making it and putting it out, like people started gravitating towards it. People started like, yo, this is dope. And I was like, it was my first language. Yeah. So podcasts, like, I don't know. I think I get like insecure whenever like sometimes like you rewatch it and it's just like, I sound like an idiot or I don't sound confident or do I even know what the hell I'm talking about? People are going to think I'm crazy. I don't know. So I don't know. I remember doing the one last time, like my buddy was like, yo, you got to be on this. And I was like, all right, whatever. Like, does anybody want to hear what I have to say? And I think, I felt comfortable in it. I had fun with it. I think that's the main thing is just having fun and hopefully having some sort of message that people can relate to and take away. Yeah.
So I think based on results, you definitely do that. So, I totally, hear and, respect everything that you said. And thank you for being so open and vulnerable. Like you're like really a treat to interview.
Yeah, thank you.
Because you're willing to share yourself. And like, that's what the types of stories that I like love to tell on this podcast. And I mean, to be honest, some of my guests are more open than others, but like, I feel like you're just like, you let yourself be seen. And
yeah,
like,
that's scary.
Even the parts that you just said, you're like, maybe like, I'm a little insecure about this. And that's why I don't do as many of them, is I think what makes you so relatable. And, based on results, the fact that like, I still have people like liking the SoundCloud link to the episode we did together. Like when you share, you just like, your voice is really powerful and really inspiring and really relatable. So, I get and respect that insecurity, and based on results, like when you speak, it makes a tremendous impact.
I appreciate that.
So yeah, that's my words of encouragement.
I love it. Thank you, man. That was very kind of you.
So you've amassed quite the social media following, very loud, very loving following, together with, working with some of the most famous people in the world. So I'm curious, what have you learned about fame?
The recognition and all that, like from it is cool, but one day I'm not going to be alive anymore and I'm going to be gone. And, like it doesn't matter about if people know who I am or what it is. It's like, hopefully with what I did with my time here, impacted people in a certain way that pushes people to continue to grow for generations. And I mean, I don't necessarily need to be like, like 200 years from now, people will be like, Rory's videos or Rory this. Like, hopefully there's something of mine that I did in my time that had that ripple effect or whatever that caused this person to do this, that just continued to inspire people.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so cool. You've been so real and open and honest, and, shared with us your humanity.
Yeah.
And, we've been talking about like the mental and spiritual power and stuff. And like, it just is amazing, like that you have overcome like some of, your dark thoughts to be able to create the life that you choose to live. And I think that is such an achievement. It's something that I work towards every single day. And like, I've got a loud inner critic, and oftentimes it slows me down, and it makes me sensitive when I get feedback from other people, which then puts me in different directions. So, I really respect your resilience and your commitment to optimism, which I would imagine has really fueled you in terms of just continuing to tap into your creativity in the process of creating.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. So I cut you off when I was talking about Avicii. When I was talking about Avicii earlier. So I wanted to see if there was anything you wanted to express.
Like his passing was it was hard. I remember, I don't even remember. I think I was at my friend's house, but like, I remember like just crying and just like, I was already like mentally weak from my knee surgery. So, and I wasn't already myself. And like, that was just like, I don't know, just felt like getting kicked in the teeth. Like it sucked because like, here was somebody that I was a huge fan of, like his music, even before I got to do that video. Like I listened to it, I put it in my videos, and it was like gone to his concerts. And so like getting to work with somebody that not only I was a fan of, but like changed my life forever and like made me known. I was bigger outside of the US than I was in the US because of like that video, and it made people fuck with my shit. And like it literally gave me like street cred in like just in the professional world. And I had the Avicii stamp of approval, and all these kids were like, yo, you like I want to be like you, or like this changed my life. And like I wouldn't have had that without like Avicii. And so to see him pass away from like such a tragic circumstance was like, it just made me question a lot of things. And it was just, it made you realize that like fame, money, all this stuff isn't necessarily the answer to stuff. And like people have to figure out who they are, and the mental game is really a big factor in life, and being able to control that. What he did was just next level in like the music industry, and what he did with his life. And the guy was an artist. I remember like when he would take those risks with what he was doing in music, he was pushing the boundaries, and you'd hear people like say like, what the hell, like this is whack, or that. And then it became like the biggest song in the world. Then this became the biggest song in the world. And it was cool to see someone go against the grain in that sense, with just not being stagnant and staying the same with the music. And I think that that's inspiring for every artist to look at, and to see like, you know, just because you're known for one thing doesn't mean you can't reinvent yourself and do it different, and like, you know, become bigger than what you'd done before.
What does it mean to put your time in? I know I read on your website that you're like, I put in my time. And I know a lot of us are working towards goals or dreams.
Well, I mean, we all have time here on Earth, and I think put in your time is to continue to do something regardless, or despite wanting to give up and not knowing if it will ever happen. Consistently doing something that you're passionate about until that time comes where the universe lines up and decides like, here's your time. Like, you know, you've put in the 10,000 hours, you've done your time. Yeah. It's like now you're free, or now it's come to fruition. You know, it can be a year, it can be your whole life.
Yeah, I know. And
and you doing the time means, I guess, like, be willing to put it, like, invest yourself regardless of the outcome because of what you're doing. You love what you do.
Amen. So you're an influencer.
Yeah.
And, you know, being an influencer is such an used cliche word. But my question for you on this question is, as an influencer, or looking at this idea of an influencer, what type of level of responsibility do you feel like influencers should have in terms of being a role model, or the type of impact that they strive to make?
I think about that even more and more as I get older, and like every piece of thing I put out, like I'm second guessing, where it's just like, now I got nieces and nephews, and now, like, I don't know, you just see like a lot of like those things I was saying, like those habits, like that, like you aren't aware of, that like just become part of your everyday life. And now as I look back at like my Instagram, like it's almost scary that you can go back into stories, and I can look at Instagram stories from a year ago, and I'm just like, yo, what, like, did I think that was cool putting that out? Like, oh my gosh, like, you know, people are probably easily influenced by that. And, oh, is Rory Kramer doing this? Yeah. Oh, Rory Kramer jumps off a roof into a pool. Like, I've done my time. I train myself. I know the risks, or I know what I'm getting myself into. Whereas somebody might see it and think that it's easy as that.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's a difficult thing to have something that you enjoy doing, that you might be more skilled at than other people, and you have to be aware of it. And it's hard to tricky road.
So you're saying there is a layer of responsibility that comes with that?
Yeah, I think so, because like, you know, unless you put a disclaimer on everything.
Right. No, I mean, I know it goes back to what we were previously talking about, is if we're just sharing the highlight reels, we're actually our own highlight reels, and we're not actually showing, you know, what's real for us, then in a way we are just playing into this status quo of what is causing people to feel left out, or to feel depressed, or to feel envious, or second best, all those things.
Well, I mean, if my videos are capable of changing people's life for the better, I guess they're even capable of changing their life for the worse.
I guess anything, yeah.
Yeah, because like if somebody sees, you know, me do something, and then they want to go learn to do it, you know, if they see me ramp ramp a bike, they might ramp a bike, break the wrist. Like, I don't know. Like there's always that factor.
Yeah. Interesting. Fine line. You mentioned your niece and nephew.
Yeah.
So I can just see you being a really fun uncle, first of all. But I'm curious, what would be your best advice for them?
Follow your heart, do what you love, and to believe in yourself. Yeah.
Also good. So Rory, as we wrap up this interview, what can we do to support you?
Nothing. just continue being like, I think just people being themselves, and like when you go out into the world, being aware of the energy you carry and how you present yourself to others. I think that it transfers from person to person to person.
Yeah.
Me going outside and opening a door for somebody could end up connecting to that person across the world. I don't know.
Awesome. Cool. Anything you want to close up the show with?
Sorry for all my rambling, and if it doesn't make sense, I'm sorry. I'm still trying to learn.
So good. The one and only Rory Kramer.
Thanks.
Rory, dude, you're always welcome back. It's always such a
I appreciate it.
Yeah.